Hi. First and foremost, I hope everybody watching this video is doing okay. This has been quite the week since we last talked. I hope you're resting. I hope you're getting the right amount of media, not too much, enough to know what you need to know, and not so much that you start to panic. I also know that if you're anything like me, you've been getting too many emails for the past week. Lots of instructions, a lot of bullet points, a lot of details, and sometimes it just kind of washes over you. So I figured I'd give you a video, and maybe we could talk face to face. So since we last met, I think everybody has been scared, or at the very least weirded out on some level. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I've been pretty weirded out myself. I'm not going to talk about the science of this virus. That's not the right place for it. But I'll tell you what I do know. I can talk about myself. And 2 years ago, I lost my dad after he'd been ill for a couple of years with a serious respiratory illness. So immediately, when this virus came around, I thought about him and how careful I was and worried I was about something like this getting the best of him when I was trying to make sure he was okay. And that made me think of all the people out there who are probably in the exact same boat. Another thing you should know about me that I may not have mentioned before is that my wife is currently 7 months pregnant. We're expecting our first child, baby daughter, in about 2 months, in May, late May, right after the semester ends. And I think in part because I couldn't really call my dad and get that perspective that I might have gotten a few years ago, or certainly when I was most of your age. And in part because in a couple months, it's time for me to start being the dad that somebody else looks to for reassurance and clarity and understanding. That I felt like I owed you guys something before we get into all the specifics and nitty gritty and details. So that's what I'm hoping this video is. We'll see how it goes. But I was 17 when 9/11 happened. So I was a little bit younger than most of you as students. And I'm going to tell you right now, we were really scared. We were freaked out. It was a sudden thing, whereas this seemed like it was a little bit more of a gradual event that we're dealing with right now. It was sudden. It felt catastrophic. It felt like there was nowhere to go where you could run for cover from it. It felt like there wasn't anything you could do. And I was in Rhode Island. I was by myself in Rhode Island with my family and far away from New York City. Whereas in this point, I think we're all surrounded, either literally or at least we sense that we are, by the potential for this virus to affect us, to affect our families, to affect our friends, especially to affect some of the older folks that we know and love and take care of. So I just want to point out that I remember the feeling that it may not be the same, but I certainly remember being around your age and being a little bit terrified by everything that was going on. And so since our course is about communication, and since we're going to be doing a lot more of that communication remotely, I figured I'd start by addressing that elephant in the room, as we said in our last lecture in person. And the elephant in the room is this virus and sort of where we're all at. Now, maybe some of you need what I'm about to say, and maybe some of you don't. I think it really depends on how you're approaching things, how you look at it, how you feel about it. So maybe some of you need this, and maybe some of you don't. So if you don't need it, just hang on. I got a couple more things for the rest of you in a minute. But if you need this, I just want you to know that I'm pretty sure we're going to be okay. This is a serious issue. This is a serious problem, and we have to take steps to address it. And I think we are, and I hope you are as well, and everybody you care about is as well. Some of those steps are intimidating. Some of this is frightening. It's hard to feel connected to people. We talk about autonomy versus connection in our class. And it's hard to feel connected when we're all stuck 6 feet apart from each other, and in some cases 600 miles away from each other. But I know from 9/11 that we've got what it takes as a culture to push through this sort of thing. And let me be clear. I personally don't think we'll get back to normal as people say. I don't think that's a normal expectation. I think a lot of this stuff requires us collectively to figure out what the new normal is going to be. There are some really fascinating subplots here of how work is going to change and how social interactions are going to change and how our expectations are going to change and all sorts of stuff that we'll have plenty of time to dive into personally and even academically over the next few weeks. And we'll talk about a lot of that stuff. We're fortunate in this case to be in a course that talks about communication and media. So we're going to get into a lot of it. But I want you to know that we're going to be okay. And I want you to know that if you're feeling upset or concerned or worried or whatnot, that in some small way, I hope this course gives you an opportunity to discuss it, address it, and deal with it going forward. That's what I'm hoping for, and that's what I'm going to try to do. Now, seniors, I want to talk to you for a second. I know that a lot of students will take this course as general education course, and sometimes seniors, you put off your general education courses until the very last minute, the very last semester. And I also know that you found out a couple days ago that your commencement ceremony has been canceled. And I want you to know that I'm really sorry on behalf of me and everybody I work for, on behalf of UConn Nation, for what happened there. This is not in any of our control, and I know our administration has done a great job communicating that, but those last few months are exciting months. There's a lot of cool things that culminate in that time, and as someone who's marshaled at commencement a number of times, I know that it's a very, very exciting moment for all of you, and I'm sorry that you won't get a chance to experience that. But we will appreciate everything that you've done, and we will make sure that you get recognized. I know I've already talked to people in the Department of Communication about our seniors and how we're going to need to wait and see how this plays out, but we will be doing something to honor you and appreciate you. Well, I think that's true for everybody. And just remember that even though these last 2 or 3 months have gone a little bit sideways in your academic careers, I promise you that when you look back at your time, you'll appreciate all the good things that you've done, all the relationships you've built, all the experiences that you've had. Some of them, even the ugly ones, the unfortunate ones that didn't go so well, because they're going to help you build and learn and grow too. So when you look back, you'll have an interesting story to tell. And for those of you who are in the middle of college, you're going to have an interesting story to tell too. You're going to have a before and after of the coronavirus and how it affected life and your college experience. And for those of you who are just starting out, well, it'll be interesting to see how things progress as you move through your academic careers, but just know that we're here on the other side of it, and we got your backs, and we're going to work this out. Now, some of you are probably wondering why this is a course email, or video, I should say, and I want to tell you right now up front, we fixed the course. We sat down on Tuesday, we had a great meeting, we covered a lot of details, we ironed out a lot of specifics. We're currently working hard to put all those plans in place, and what I can promise you is that it'll be more elastic, it'll be more flexible, it'll be more fluid, it'll give you opportunities to catch up on things you may have missed already, and it'll give you opportunities to make sure you don't drop the ball in a crazy online semester that you weren't expecting and that nobody signed up for in this course. We're sympathetic to that, and we're going to do everything we can in our power to make sure that you're okay and to make sure that this course is a positive experience and that you learn something. All I'm going to ask of you, well, 2 things. One, is to clear your head for the next 3 or 4 days, because you are still on your spring break. It's not in the format that you expected, but you're still on your spring break. And then 2, check back in with us on Sunday, Monday. And over those couple days, our first day of class will be what we call a reorientation. We will get things set up. We will explain to you how it's going to work, and we'll get you in position to keep moving forward with your education. But my main goal for you is to learn. And I think we're all learning something right now, so we're going to do it together. And we will. Now, I haven't had a chance to lecture in a week, so I wanted to take a second and just call you back to some content that we learned in this course a little while ago. Dr. Ross Buck, who is one of our senior faculty members, who was my major advisor for my master's and my PhD dissertation, Dr. Buck talks a lot about motivation and emotion, and boy, there's been a lot of emotion, and I think some of us are feeling some pretty strong motivation right about now in all sorts of different ways. And this is a complicated process that we're all trying to feel our way through. And there's one thing that he said in his research that really kind of got me. And I even wrote it down right here, so I want to make sure I get it right. But Dr. Buck said that the one thing that is perhaps inflexible about human beings is their inherent flexibility. And I don't know how you feel about that sentiment right now, but I'm going to tell you. Our flexibility is going to be tested, but like it has for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years, it's going to hold up. And you will find, and we will find, that even in those moments where it feels like it's all confusing and it's all messed up and we can't figure it out, that somehow we continue to adapt and we continue to overcome and we continue to work hard and we continue to love each other and take care of each other and find ways to smile. And we're going to do that. This course is just one little piece of your whole life right now, and there's a lot of questions and a lot of concerns. We'll get to the answers to our questions in the next few days. Stay tuned. But for now, get some rest and take some time to focus on those other things that you're worried about, those other people that you love, and that other stuff that you're just trying to enjoy and relax and experience. And one last thing. I don't know if you noticed. You probably didn't. It feels like nobody in my life did. But tonight, 11:50 p.m., is the start of spring. A new season. A new start. We're going to move forward together. We'll do it online. We got this. I love you. Let's go.